Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin. This is episode number 157. This week I'm joined by Scott, aka Scobeywan. How's it going, bro?
Oh God, we're live? No, we're good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. And this week we do got Roger, aka Lunatic Ablivion. Welcome back, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, man. A little bit tired. Work was put me in like a really terrible mindset kicking it off today. I was there at 10:30. Store opens up at 11. My 11 o'clock employee doesn't show up. It's just me with like, let's say 15 to 20 customers. Not happening.
So would you say like you weren't like well suited for that situation?
Yes, very much so. That's actually a really great one. But yeah, that kind of just set my day off for how I feel now. But I'm just glad that I could be here with you guys and to talk about video games because video games is awesome and it can honestly just escape from the real world to play some lovely games. So let's go ahead and dive right into actually what we've been playing. Roger, you got the longest list here due to also not being on the show for the last 2 weeks, but
And the girthiest.
and the girthiest. Go to kick it off. Actually, Roger, let's talk about the game that me and you did beat last week. With Sniper Elite Resistance. I'm gonna let you talk about it first, and then I'll give my 2 cents into it. But what did you think about the game, man?
It definitely feels like a single A, double A game. Like it doesn't have that quality in some moments. Like I jumped off a ledge, and one of our favorite moments, I jumped off a ledge and ended up under the ground, but not under the world. So I was under certain terrain features. So like my head's just sticking out of the ground, and I can't kill myself. And I'm like, cool, guess we're restarting the mission.
Yeah, thank
Hey
God. that it
Google, what
started
is
at the-
clipping?
What is clipping? Yeah.
Thank God it was at
No,
the beginning of the mission too. It's not like we got through towards the end of it.
Yeah, and honestly, the game would be really fun if they give you more ability to kind of go silent as a sniper, but they kind of gate you on being able to play a silent sniper early on, and so they make it really difficult, especially if you're playing with invading Jaegers, sniper Jaegers, and you're like sitting there like, okay, I'm taking my time, and a sniper Jaeger invades, and you're like, guess I'm going murder hobo. Like,
Yeah.
there's no other option. Here we
Murder
are.
hobo is though sometimes you just need it. You need to have it. It's the best option most times.
Yeah.
You just
There
get
were
bored,
some
you're murder
missions-
hobo.
We beat some missions with no enemies left on the map, and it just felt bad. You're like, wow, we killed everyone. Like, everyone.
We've been playing Sniper Elite, the new assault rifle simulator. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's it. It's just crazy. I definitely said that too. I was like, they might as well not even call this Sniper Elite, just call it AR Elite or SMG Elite because there was no
Spray and
sniping.
pray the game.
Yeah. This was my first time playing a Sniper Elite game, Roger. I know this was not. This is one of your many of them. But yeah, I had a way different expectation. I thought we were actually going to do a lot more sniping. And like you said, if I found myself not doing a lot more sniping, because like as soon as you fire off the first bullet, like the entire army was chasing after you, and you had to switch to a SMG, AR, or an LMG if you picked one up, like the MG42. I decided to pick up, but yeah, I think by gatekeeping, like the suppressors were weird. Like I feel like those should have just been available readily at launch, like right off rip, or at least unlock them in the first mission. Because you didn't unlock like the one suppressor, the rifles until like
You
at
could-
or mission 7, which is basically the
You
one.
could get them on the second mission, though. But if you miss the workbench, which I completely forgot about, you have to go back and replay the missions to get the stuff you missed. So it doesn't lend itself well. I
Right.
agree.
Right. It doesn't seem like a legitimate reason to go back and replay a mission. Like going back to replay a mission just to get a workbench. That's kind of weird. Like, allow me to spend some money or something in the in between missions to buy it or something. I don't know. Like, create some kind of in game currency that you get, um, to allow you to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, also when we soft locked the game, where the last checkpoint was like when I blew myself up, but for some reason it was also like causing you to die too.
Well, no. If you die, we lose.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just it.
The thing is, it was like skipping the whole like I'm down sequence because like when I first blew myself up before we actually eventually died all together, I was bleeding out and he had to come res me. So like, but every time we loaded back in, it was like killing me altogether, and then we would have to start over. Like it was like, yep, we got to reboot the mission. But yeah, like you said, it was definitely very double A-ish feel to it. I think we ended up giving it a 7 out of 10, which me and you will dive in and do like a little in-depth review of the game, and whatnot. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and talk about. So Scott, you picked up a game literally like an hour ago, if that, off the grid. I know this is a new battle royale in early access. I heard you talking to the your partner there, and you're like, I have no idea how to even jump. But how was your experience been other than that? You're muted.
And
You
that's the
forgot to press
same.
press T to.
Yep, I forgot to press the push to talk. No, so yeah, like halfway into my match, like I finally figured out which one was push to talk. You go through the tutorial and it's like everything you've already known about a BR. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like F to interact, like all this, and then once you get into a game, none of that means anything. It doesn't mean a damn thing. What did I call it earlier? I called it PUBG 2077.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically it's your run of the mill third person perspective. Your teams you have 3, so more like your Apex Legends in that point. But
Mm-hmm.
you get biometric upgrades like to your arms and your legs, all that good stuff. It was chaos, absolute chaos. Apparently you can jump and still use the jetpack, which is just like the flying piece of this. Just at random. Didn't know that. That would have been really nice to know in the tutorial. Thanks. But it was just chaos. It was interesting. It was fun. Your normal. You have your missions within game, kind of like your Warzone. There, you have your destroy 3 servers, or like locate a next ping, like just stuff like that. But it's also extraction as well. So when you have I guess the currency of the game is called hex. So you get in there, you find hex, you need to extract that. The more hex, the better. And then if you like as you play the game, like you gain all the hex that you found and extracted. And then if you get first place, you get even more. I don't know too much about it yet, other than the fact that it does feel good. It looks great in most cases. The playability with like the motion with like the world blur was a little iffy. So I'll probably adjust some of that. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty all right so far. I was whelmed, but not overly so. And that was about it. I don't like the fact that there's no solo already. So I always have to play with somebody else. Which was fine because the one guy I was playing with was way better than I was. But that's it so far after the one game. I mean, that's really all I have for you.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I know a bunch of people that like Inhuman. He's been playing this at least when it first dropped and whatnot. But it's just your typical run of the mill BR. Just get them in, shoot it, and whatever. I just feel like I almost feel like BRs are kind of like running out of steam personally. I see less and less people playing them, especially like a lot of the mainstream like streamers even on Twitch. Like I feel like they're starting to get away from those as well. But only time will tell for that.
Well, you can only beat a dead horse for so long.
Yeah,
And
unless you're
I would,
Fortnite, then somehow you just continue.
well, unless you're Fortnite and you just for some reason just shit money all the time. You just wake up and you put your pants on one leg at a time and then make $1 million because fuck everything else.
That's fair. All right, Roger. Another one here on your list, Unraveled 2. This is a game that you also recently beat. I believe I beat this last year or the year before, but I understand. I think you beat the first one as well. But what was your experience with the second one?
So I didn't actually play the first one. Jordan was
Oh,
looking for something to play cooperatively, and I was like, well, I went on, found a website that says gives you recommendations based on games you played, and so I threw in like 3 games real quick, and it's like you should play Unraveled 2, and I was like, okay, how much is it? $3 for a 2-pack for the Unraveled base game and the sequel? Sure, easy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it should have been included in Game Pass already because it's part of the EA Vault.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if how that would have played out. But I played it solo, so I had definitely had a much different experience than you playing it cooperative with Jordan. But how did the mechanics feel playing it cooperatively?
It, it was at times really annoying because we both could like, hang each other. So like you could be like trying to do a stunt, make it across a chasm, and the other player's just like holding left trigger, and you're like, guess I'm not going anywhere. You're like about to do this whole thing. You're like, I'm ready, and it's like,
Yeah. But overall, did you guys enjoy the experience and the story it was kind of telling?
yeah. Honestly, it was a pretty good game. I'm excited to play some more cooperative games, especially with It Takes Two's new game coming out.
Yeah, Split Fiction on March 6th. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to play it. I've never beaten It Takes Two. I gotta find somebody who would like to play that game with me, and then also who wants to run through Split Fiction. But we shall see with that. Let's go ahead and talk about another one here. We're gonna wait for one of these games since it's on all three of our lists. But The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. This is a game I picked up off of Game Pass because I've just kind of going through these Telltale games, and I'm just like, man, they just keep getting better and better every fucking time. And like some of the moments in this game were like more like, holy fuck, that was dark. That they did that. Like if that was some shit that we saw on the TV show, like it was very similar, like reminiscing like with the whole Negan bashing in the heads of those two characters, um, in season 7 and 8, where it kind of like shaken up like the industry. Like, whoa, that might have been too much for TV. Like that was that kind of feeling with some of the moments in this game, and I'm like, whoa, like I was not expecting it to do anything like that, and sure enough, it did. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying that game, and it's kind of one of those games I can just like kick my feet up, kind of like turn the brain off, and just like press a couple buttons here and there, and obviously do the dialogue choices and whatnot, which are pretty awesome because like you can see like the impacts of like some of your choices, and then like at the end of each chapter or like episode, it says like 47% of the people made this choice with you or something like that, and you're like, oh, like I was in the minority with this one, or like, oh, 75% chose this one. Okay, cool, we were all on the same page here, but it's pretty cool to see those statistics across the board on that game. Have you guys played any of the Walking Dead Telltale games at all?
Mm.
No, so the only Telltale game that I've played was Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Um, but it's funny like when you think of like the Telltale games and like how they came to be versus like what they used to be. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would say officially the first Telltale game that I ever played was like Dungeons and Dragons, and it was a DVD. It came in a DVD, and you did the same thing. And just to see how it's progressed over the decades at this point, is fun. And you're right, it's something to sit and just you kick your feet up, you just go mindless for a little bit, you just press a couple reaction buttons or some dialogue pieces, and you're just kind of like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you still get to enjoy the cinematic masterpiece that is not real life of any of the actual shows that you're playing. So,
Right.
but other than those, those are fun.
Yeah,
Like
it was
you
pretty
just
cool to
sit
see
down.
like some of the characters that are starting to appear in this game that I'm playing right now, actually have appeared in like the mainline like TV show, and I'm like, oh, like who else is gonna have like some crossovers and stuff like that? So it had me like googling like who's gonna cross over and like some of them, trying to spoil myself already.
You're learning so much lore.
Yeah, I'm like I love the lore behind The Walking Dead. Like it's one of my favorite franchises, but for some reason I just can't stick with it. Like sometimes like I start it over, I watch from season 1, get up to like season 7 and 8, and then I stop. And I do that with
Well,
Fear the Walking
the
Dead too.
show
I'm like,
took a
fuck.
the show took a lot of liberties. It took a very good amount of liberties. And when that happens, it kind of fizzles out because you're like, well, that's not how it was supposed to happen. That's not what really happened. Like, so you just kind of get a little dissociated from it.
Yeah.
I think so far for me, the only show that's really been like a genuine adaptation that, as long as you get rid of that, like you have some suspension of disbelief and you already go into the show knowing that it's going to be not exactly like either the book or the game or anything like that, was really The Last of Us.
Mm.
That was like 9.5 out of 10 on my book as far as the adaptation that they made for that. And even then, like they still didn't have some of the things like coalescing and being together with the game, but they were close enough to where it's like,
Yeah.
Not bad. It's still its own original piece, but it's definitely an adaptation, but
Right, because
it didn't go
that
very,
one
very
guy's
far
character
off.
that's in the show isn't really in the game at all. But like he's like a main. I don't know him because I haven't watched or played the game, but I just know like the importance of like they added him into the show and it did so much to the story, and it just made it a whole ton better. But yeah, I definitely agree. I wish Halo would have
I
did
think
what
the
it did
Walking
this,
Dead. I think we all wish that
which we're gonna
for
talk about it here in a little bit, actually.
which, yeah,
Surprisingly.
we'll reopen that wound later.
Yeah, yeah. But let's see. Actually, Roger, here's one on your list, Minecraft. I know we talked about like activating a server, like, but what kind of Minecraft were you running?
Just Bedrock, like the Java edition.
No, okay, nothing too fancy
Just
then.
playing single player. I talked about playing it with Jordan a little bit. I just didn't start a server up.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. There's always those days. It's like, man, I feel like playing Minecraft. Don't know why. I just feel like playing
Hmm.
Minecraft, doing nothing. That's what it feels like some days.
Yeah, and then you get like 2, 3, 5 hours, and you're like, "Ugh, fuck, I hate
Oh,
myself.
What
yeah.
have I done?
What have I done with myself?"
All right, let's talk about one more before we move on to our main part of the podcast, and that's Avowed. All three of us have picked this up. Game obviously just dropped like a week ago, if that. Um, and it's funny enough, Dom, who's normally in our chat here, already beat it. He said he dropped about 41 hours into it, so shout out to him on that. I think I'm only about, let's just say, 2 hours into the game, so I'm not that far into it. I'm starting to feel the hook being pulled because I'm not gonna lie, the first 40 minutes of the game, which was my first play session, I kind of got through the tutorial, got to meet the lady that was in the jail cell, and we were about to get on the boat and go to the island, and that's where I stopped, and I was just like, this felt really terrible. If the controls feel extremely clunky, the story didn't really feel gripping. I was just like, I don't know if this game is for me. Played another hour after that. I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Stuff is starting to make sense to me, and I'm starting to find like my playstyle. Like, I personally like right now. I've been playing with the wand and a grimoire, and just playing like strictly like range, but like with magic
Are you an
abilities.
augur?
I am a.
Are you a court augur?
No, I'm more like a
Well,
scion.
then you probably shouldn't be playing with a grimoire and wand.
Yeah, but it's like they said like whichever one you
Yeah.
clicked at the
Well, you
beginning
can
isn't
always
going to
put your
matter
stats
anyway.
in. Yeah.
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 Um. So
At the end of the day, it's just dialogue choices.
I really like the backstory behind it. But yeah. So yeah, that's how I've been playing, and when I just kind of been slowly getting the hang of it and getting a feel for it. But it definitely has a. I've never played Skyrim, but it definitely feels like that. I don't want to say outdated, but like I don't know, like it has a really weird feel to it. And I know
God, I'm
Skyrim
so
has always felt
happy.
like outdated.
I'm so happy I'm not the first person to say that in the podcast today. Like, I'm really happy that I'm. So I would say Skyrim, but it really felt more like Oblivion at first, because like I also use a wand and a grimoire, and just having both your hands in front of you the whole time like this again, like to dual wield, felt very, very Oblivion-y. And then pulling them out for Skyrim, like it just, yeah, it seems like it's, 14 years too late on having that point of view.
Mhm. So
Yeah, it's a
I'm
little,
not gonna lie. I switched.
little
I
late.
play in third person. Could not do the first person perspective in that game. It felt really really weird. Don't.
And
It could just be
I'm
me. I
I'm
couldn't do it.
torn. Well, no, you're. It's not just you. I'm torn. I actually had to change my field of view, a few times, just so it didn't feel so up close and like,
Mhm.
and just like in your face. Um, and even then, I'm like, this still isn't that great, because after you get to like 100 field of view, like then you start getting the fishbowl
Warp.
effect,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be it. I'm not sure.
But Roger, what's your overall thoughts, and how long have you been playing so far?
I got hours into the game, like actual hours. It's honestly really fun. I find myself enjoying it. I find that the content loop is the biggest issue.
Okay.
Like there are moments where I'm going through the game and I'm like, it's just I feel like I'm fighting the same enemy over and over and over again, but like I genuinely really like the game. So I'm a
Yeah.
little stuck.
Yeah.
Like
They,
it feels like a good game, but it's
Would
just one of
yeah,
those things.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like, would you say like almost like fetch questy? Like, it's just
Yes.
yeah, it's like the same thing, just like kind of with a different like makeover each time, but it's like
Yeah,
still
it
overall
doesn't
it's the
feel as
same
bad
like
as Skyrim did to me, where it was like,
yeah.
hey, I've been in this dungeon 12 times.
Yeah. It's the same goddamn dungeon, but now it's just to the left.
Yeah.
they
Or,
just
Hell
oh, I
yeah.
they just
entered
mirror
from a
it.
different angle. Awesome.
Oh my god. But it's the same dungeon, but if you didn't notice, this time we actually entered through a hole in some rocks as opposed to a door in some rocks. Totally
um,
different. Totally different feel.
to be fair,
Yeah.
Roger, a lot of people that I've listened to that talked about the game said that the enemy type variety is one of its weakest points, and
It is
I'm not in
the
far enough,
weakest
but
point.
I definitely could see like someone was like, "You're going to fight a lot of bears," and I was like, Okay, that's really weird."
Bears are the least of your worries.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Like the lizard men, I have lizard manned out from my life.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
like
had
there's
enough
no other.
lizard men.
It's almost as if like they keep trying to tell you like all of these things are going on over here, and like this is where the real like this is where the real content, the real meat and potatoes of your storyline is, because like the villain is something over here, but like it's lizardmen. It's lizardmen are the real like they're the actual real issue. I
They're
feel
just
like
it's
somebody took out their natural predator and now they've just been
yeah, it
propagating.
feels like goblins on steroids. Like I'm in a D&D game, but like they were like, what if we don't do goblins and we just do kobolds?
I
Everything
was
is
just
kobolds.
yep. Goblins is a little dry. Let's do, let's spice it up. Let's do some more goblins this time.
But
Is what we're gonna do.
I do appreciate the like action wheel though in a way because it kind of gives me reminiscent of Mass Effect because like you've been able to control your party members and telling them to do certain things.
Hate it.
Oh, you hate it? I kind of enjoy it.
Hate it.
It
Yeah.
was very weird at first. I did not like it. I'm still not
Opposite.
like I'm not like yay action wheel, but I'm like
I hate that
all
it
right,
includes like
I got the
healing
action
items in the
wheel.
action wheel. Like, I just want to be able to press like one button on my D-pad or something and it just heal like any other fucking game I've been playing.
Change your key bindings.
I don't think I can on controller to a certain degree, but we'll see.
Play on mouse and keyboard, then
No,
change your
thank
key
you.
bindings.
I hate playing video games on mouse and keyboard. With
My name is like
absolutely
not at all. 2 hands to play a game? Fuck that.
no
Not
way
even
with
a
two
little
Who
bit.
would even? What do you breathe with your
Mm.
mouth?
Yeah, come on.
How dare I?
Let me guess. You inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. You fucking nerd.
But I would say overall, like I'm starting to enjoy it, and I just hope that it continues, like story wise, and the game just starts to feel good. Like, not gonna lie, there's not buggy in any sense, which is great to
Mm-mm.
see. But I mean, maybe that delay, because remember this game was supposed to release in November of last year, and it got delayed, and maybe that delayed helped polish it. I do appreciate that. In with this delay, it allowed them to make a 60 FPS mode, and I've been playing with that. I did not try quality, but the performance with the 60 FPS on my Xbox has been running phenomenal. It looks beautiful and no hiccups, no loss of frames or anything like that.
I'm running it, man, at full fidelity. It feels great.
That's good.
Unlimited, ultra, fucking everything. You're like,
My thing is cranked. My computer said, "Please stop. I'm already dead." And I
I'm on
said, "No
fire."
more."
it actually increases the temperature in this office by about
I
15 degrees when I play that
Scott,
shit for more than 15 minutes.
he's Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. More.
More. I did. I was like, what can I do to get this bitch to be the most that it could ever be? And I was just ultra everything. Like, let's
Doesn't
go.
seem really demanding. Like whatever tech that they're using they're doing really well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like Obsidian Entertainment for Xbox is probably like one of their GOAT studios by far. Like,
Well, and you guys don't have video cards that scream at you, so it sounds a lot quieter.
yeah.
I'm sure.
But like all of their games honestly been hitting. I mean, like Outer Worlds was great, and then you had Grounded, which I thought was fun. It was just not my cup of tea for to be honest. Roger, I know you really enjoyed it. I heard Pentiment was really good. This has been playing really well, and then you can think about it. They have Outer Worlds 2 still releasing later this year, and I'm just like, man, what a year for Obsidian.
They're a pretty good studio. They're doing pretty good. Honestly, they've been around for a long time. They've made a lot of good games, and they're still hitting. I just think this game, they had foregone some quality gameplay mechanics for the story. The depth of story is always good with Obsidian.
Mhm.
The problem though is just the quality of mechanics at times.
It's
And
almost like
I just
Obsidian,
think
yeah.
it suffers from it.
Yeah, it's almost like Obsidian works off of those like the personality triangles you see where it's like you can have story, mechanics, like graphics, and you can't have all of everything. So you have to like pick and choose where you're really gonna put your focus. And I agree with Roger on where they've put their focus as far as the
Story and
gameplay versus
graphics.
mechanics. And so yeah, I 100% agree with him on that.
Yeah, that's an fair assessment. But yeah, I would love to do a review later in the coming weeks or months whenever we all beat this game and kind of give our final thoughts on about. So we'll definitely circle back, and obviously we're gonna cover this week to week because I assume this game will be on our games played throughout the week, for the time being. But nonetheless, any other games you guys wanted to cover before we moved on to the this week's episode? Good there. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and slide on over to the industry news. All right, kicking it off here with some unfortunate news for 1010 Games. These are the developers behind Funko Fusion. They have laid off 20 employees, and they're blaming that this game, due to the game being a complete commercial and critic failure, the game led to them having to lay off some of their employees and just kind of restructure. I have not gotten to this game. I know it was on my games to check out. I seemed pretty interested, but I don't know if it's for everybody. It kind of reminded me like the Lego games in a way. I don't. Roger, what was your take on Funko Fusion?
Honestly, this is one of those games that reminded me of just like all the other big like NFT style games. Like that's what it felt like from a distance. Like, hey, we're gonna make a game about like like it just I don't didn't really look too much into it because in itself I hate Funkos.
Oh damn!
Hate them.
I have like
Yeah,
1,000 of them above me right now.
I think Funkos are just hideous. I
That's
would
fair.
rather like and then this is just me being a gatekeeping weeb, I guess. But I like my figurines to like have depth of like the way they look,
Mhm.
poses, things like that, not just
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I'm just glad with Funko Fusion they didn't do the whole like NFT thing. Like if you buy a
yeah.
Funko, you get an in-game like thing. At least I don't think that's how that works. But like the content and like with the abilities of what they could create because they have unlimited possibilities. They have access to pretty much every IP, obviously within reason. If they get like, they have to probably ask like Jurassic World or whatever, whoever owns each rights to be able to use them in the game. But I don't see many companies like saying no to any of that kind of stuff. But we'll see. I mean, hopefully it's something that they can grow on and fix and maybe build on like specific ones because like this game was kind of like a roundup of like so many different Funkos as opposed to like just picking one universe within Funkos and kind of making it work, you know?
Hmm.
So we'll see if with the restructuring, it leads to better content for games. But nonetheless, Roger, last industry news topic here. Sony is back with some awesome news.
Yeah, so with Sony, we've got they're being sued for artificially high prices on on the PlayStation Store. So it has been revealed that a Dutch consumer group has filed a class action lawsuit against them, saying that Sony is keeping prices on the PlayStation Store artificially high and abusing its position and power by preventing players from buying digital versions of PS4 and PS5 games elsewhere. I'm a little confused because like you can buy digital copies of the games at a lot of places and then just redeem them. Like I was just looking about buying Jordan the Hello Kitty game because she was interested in it. The only
Yeah.
option because the physical version doesn't launch for another month. The digital option, it's the same price to buy it from Target, to buy it from the Nintendo store, like but sometimes those digital codes will drop in price and you can get them cheaper. So I'm a little confused, but I get what they're going for here is like, oh, there is no competition. If you have a PlayStation, you have to get it from PlayStation.
Yeah,
Like,
I wonder if
that's
they're
it.
also like alluding to like what we kind of covered before was like when you're on these consoles, there is
Mhm.
only one marketplace on the console specifically. Is like I can only buy it from the PlayStation Store. It's not like I have Steam or other outlets on the
Yes.
console. So if, like you said,
Epic,
you can
yeah.
go to Target and buy the digital code somewhere else. But like if you're at home and want to buy the game digitally, you can only buy it from one store,
Get bent.
as opposed to like on PC, you can buy it from Steam, Epic Game Store. I mean, there's like countless of places that you can buy keys from right there on your platform without leaving anywhere. But you know,
Hmm.
I definitely, and I'm also curious with the artificial pricing too. Is the fact that I always thought about this because there's Nintendo's really big for this. They don't ever cut their prices for any of their fucking games, like rarely, and they're always expensive. And I'm just like, the problem with going to an all digital market too is like there's no more pre-owned market. So like buying games pre-owned allowed you to buy games a whole hell of a lot cheaper by going in that. Now
Or
you can't.
liquidations.
Yeah, like there was different ways of buying games when it was all physical, but now digital, like the prices are always full price, no matter what. The game's been out for 10 years. Well, guess what?
Yep.
It's still $70, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, you can buy it on like when it goes on like a flash sale or some shit like that, but like, why is the price always high when outside of sale pricing? Like, it should come down as years go by, like physical
Should.
copies do.
That's a
Should.
should with an asterisk, and it's bold and it's underlined. Like it should, definitely should. It's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's because it's not a product that has depreciative value anymore. It's not some. It's not a disc you're taking out of the store. It's not a car you're driving off the lot. It's a fucking code that they give you, and then it gives you access to that game. Like
And you better hope they don't take their store down.
you better fucking hope. You better pray, or else you're gonna get 5 days of PlayStation and a Krispy Kreme donut.
Thanks for bringing that back.
Like that's
lovely.
it. Like that is it. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But with that said, that's still wrong. I mean, that's. I mean, I would to oversimplify. I would say that's tantamount to price gouging.
Yeah, definitely sums that up. But yeah, guys, that's all the industry news we got for y'all this week. This is actually a rather short episode, but we do got some gaming news that we can go ahead and dive into. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, kicking off here with Xbox. First thing I want to talk about is actually bringing this up. We were kind of mentioning earlier. After being dropped by Paramount, Netflix has picked up the Halo TV show and will become, available on March 1st. And I do pose a question to everybody: is with Netflix picking this up, and there was always rumors of someone they were looking to pick up a new director. Like, will we officially see a season 3? Especially the way season 2 ended. Like, we were finally getting on track with like the games. And if we follow like the story from the games, the show will succeed, and I promise you that. But I would love to see a season 3 if they continue down the road that they were going, but just make it at a higher, better production value. Stop keeping fucking John 117 out of the suit. Keep him in the suit. Bring Cortana back. Have his relationship a lot better with her. Obviously, like that is what made Halo between Master Chief and Cortana. My personal
I
opinion.
kind of want to give a timeout buzzer like halfway through your speech there. Because it didn't really follow the games. Because at the end of season 2, spoiler alerts, and like you all get this because it's been out for how long? Like Master Chief kills the Arbiter. They called him the Arbiter. He was designated as the Arbiter,
But was he
and
the arbiter?
Master Chief killed him. Yeah, was he the Arbiter? Like, let's face it. The only people that are gonna care about whether or not he was an Arbiter or the Arbiter are probably the three of us and like maybe 6 other people that really fucking care about Halo. Like, they kind of fucked with the storyline there.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see.
You think they reboot
If
from
Netflix gets a
scratch?
hold of it, a kind of a reboot, a kind of a built from scratch, where they do keep him in the suit. They don't have all of this interpersonal relationship. Like that's not why we're there.
Master
We're there.
Cheeks.
We're there. We're there to watch it. We're not there for Master Cheeks. However grand it was. But we're there. We're there for the story
It's
of
to get an
Halo.
audience that isn't you. They're trying to make it hit a wider audience because fuck you.
Yeah, well, they're not gonna turn fucking Halo into Stargate. Like, no matter how much they try, it's not gonna fucking happen. It's not gonna be
Mhm.
like it's not gonna be that. Like they can hope to hit they can hope to hit the niche and like maybe get some casualties along the way and get some people into it. But they're not gonna do it if there's continual like cancellations or controversy with the show because they're not making it for the people that originally wanted to watch it in the first place.
And that's where they're fucking up. Because we were talking about
Like
Last of
that's
Us,
just
like
kind of
the
my
Last of
pseudo
Us.
hot take.
Yeah, like if they just stick to the script, it's gonna work. Look at Last of Us. I mean, even Fallout is basically stuck into a script that resembles playing a Fallout game. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like if they completely flipped Fallout upside down and completed some new like story arc, and it just like it didn't make sense. You're like, that didn't happen at all in any of the games, and now we're just making stuff up. Like, yeah, you'd be pissed off. So it's like, come on, just make the game. Just
I would
take
still
the
say that
game and make
Fallout
the
was
show.
like kind of an anomaly in that sense, but it also there was no like there was obviously a story to follow, but it didn't follow that story at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it still was successful because, like you said, it felt like you were
But
watching a
but
Fallout game.
With Fallout, it's canonically in the universe now. The
Yes.
TV show is part of the universe, whereas like this isn't. Halo isn't. It cannot be canonical right now
It's in
unless
it.
they
They already
fix
claimed it.
all of.
They were like, it's in its own universe. Like that's what they said from
Yeah.
the jump. That this
So
show is
like
in its own universe, and that right there was
so
already where they fucked up.
it's yeah. It's not even relevant. Don't watch it. Whereas like the Fallout TV show is literally the prequel to Fallout, the OG game.
And then it has
Like
apparently connections to
the,
New Vegas. That I haven't watched all of Fallout. I literally
Well,
watched
actually, sorry.
episode 1.
It's not the prequel. It is the sequel to Fallout 2. My apologies. It's the sequel to Fallout 2 because you literally the town they show in Fallout. All right, spoiler alerts, guys. It's
Mhm.
been out for a while. The town you see in Fallout that's been wiped out. That town was actually was just a little farming town in the first game, and then in the second game it had a rise to power, and some of the characters that are talked about are actually in the Fallout 2 game, because that town becomes a city.
Love that energy, Roger. Keep that up. I agree with everything you say, but we are not going to overlook the fact that what did you say about the Fallout show, Vic?
What's that?
You said you didn't finish the
No, I
whole
haven't.
Fallout show.
I've only watched episode 1, and then like I have a legit issue when I watch TV shows. I cannot finish them. I cannot watch them. I my attention span is like 0 when it comes to watching TV shows. For some reason, everyone's like, "You watch a new show?" Nope, I have not. You watch that new movie? Probably not. Like if it's
See,
not
you don't
Star
have a
Wars,
watch partner. That's your problem.
Yeah.
See,
if it's not Star
you gotta
Wars, I'm
find a watch
probably not
partner.
watching it. Like literally everything
Dude,
that
I'll come
Star Wars
over.
that comes out, I watch it all.
I'll come over. I'll let you be Big Spoon just so you watch.
Yes.
Just so you finish Fallout because Jesus.
Fallout is so good. It was such a good show.
Now
it
I have a
was
legitimate
like-
reason why I'm not watching Last of Us. Is like I've never played the game, and I'd rather play the game first.
Yeah, honestly, Last of Us, the TV show, did a really good job of the game. Like that was a awesome retelling. But like Fallout made me stop and go, I'm gonna play that 1990s Fallout game, Fallout.
I sit there
Oh
and just
my
see it on
God.
Steam. I just sit there and like after watching the Fallout show,
It was
like Fallout, like just the first game, and like I saw it on Steam so many times, and it's just like it just cackled to me like the Green Goblin mask, and I'm just like, do
like
I?
I literally booted it up and I was like, all right, there are so many references in MTG, in the game, in the show. Like I want to know these things people are referencing to. And like I played Fallout 1 and I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like the mastermind was literally just like fucking insane. It was crazy how silly some of these moments are, and you're like, this is awesome. And you think about the TV show for a minute and you're like, this TV show did a really good job of just showing how brutal Fallout is.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, I promise to get through. I actually literally just rewatched the first episode last week because I watched it the first when it first came out with Lauren, and Lauren was like, "I'm not really feeling it," and that's probably part of the problem. I was like, "I'm not returning to because she's not interested." And yeah, watching shit by yourself isn't always fun.
Oh, it's
In a
super
way.
fun because then you don't get asked, "Who's that person? Why are they doing that?"
No,
I
the
don't
thing
know.
is,
I'm watching it with you.
the thing is, the problem is if you watch Star Wars with me, like Lauren, I get Lauren to watch Star Wars with me, and I have to like stop and explain a lot of things because I want to. I'm like, yo, you know why this is important? Well, because this happened in this episode and then this show and this.
Oh, so okay, that makes sense. This is a self-inflicted wound.
Probably,
Yeah,
very much
I
so.
do
Yeah.
that to Jordan, and she's like, "Oh, that's really awesome to know." And I was like, "Right."
I really
You
like
have two. You have at this point you have like two extremes. You have the person who asks the questions while you're also watching the same exact show,
and have no idea. Yeah,
and I have a rule in the house where it's like if you're gonna ask me a question, I need you to wait 5 minutes and see if the answer is given to you. Uh, after that, if it is not, then you can ask, and then you're over here like when Aragorn kicks the helmet, and you're like, you pause it, like you want to know why he screams so loud? It's because he actually broke his toe when he did that. Like you're like so like it's a difference between like being that person and being that guy, and you're just like
it's rough.
both ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I get that, but Fallout is a very good show to watch by yourself. It really really is. It's that enjoyable.
It's on the watch list. But let's go ahead and talk about some more Xbox stuff. So this one's really interesting because like this kind of blew up on the games industry in general. But Microsoft and Hellblade developer Ninja Theory has built a new AI called MUSE, and it's designed to generate ideas for game design, and it's already making complex gameplay sequences. This comes from the article from IGN. Um, so I've always thought that this AI was going to be an issue when it comes to game development because like it is going to in a way replace a lot of people in the game development, but you're going to lose the art of game developing. And I think that that's going to be the biggest issue. I do like how this game, like what they were able to do is like go back and basically enhance older games to bring them to the modern platform. So I think if they're done in that sense could be extremely useful because like we always talk about game preservation and we know a lot of times where games that are really old they don't do well in today's age of gaming. But if they do a way where this AI can kind of like enhance and like all but do remakes of games to make them playable in the modern days, that could be extremely useful. But Roger, what's your thoughts on this new AI? Is this why they bought Three
I'm
Mile Island's contract?
Yeah, well, yes, actually, that was already stated that they wanted to buy the power cheaply to use for their artificial and Microsoft, not Microsoft Gaming, but Microsoft in general wanted to use the electricity for their AI server rooms,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to eat a lot of power. So they definitely, that's what it was for. But I honestly, I'm worried about AI being used for more creative things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the problem with creativity being run by AI is it starts to kill actual creatives
Mm-hmm.
and things we already have a problem with derivatives, and AI is going to definitely see that this pattern is acceptable. Like people are in a a, just a terrible relationship with things like Call of Duty, for example.
Yeah.
And an AI is just going to say, well, this is acceptable. People will eat shit if we give it to them and say, hey, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of that,
As
because
long
like
as it make it look like a pancake, they'll fucking eat it.
well, like
Yeah.
that's actually part of the issue. Is like apparently there's been a lot of cosmetic bundles that were AI created and then sold to
Mm-hmm.
the public, and a lot of people point out they're like, he has 6 fingers, or this angle doesn't match up with the shadow that's going. Like you can clearly see when something's done with AI. Like I'm not gonna lie, like our new logo, the concept of the new logo was created AI, but like I wasn't using the AI version of it because you can tell it was created by AI. Like there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like fuck ups, and you can see where it was messed up due to AI. So I went and created it from scratch. But like, yeah, there's always going to be something I think with AI that's like it has a use, but it can't be like the mainstay. Like we're going to create an AI and that's it. We're not even going to retouch it or retool it because like I don't know if you guys did. You guys watch the Super Bowl or like any of the commercials during the holiday time with like Coke, like the entire Coca-Cola commercial with the trucks and Santa Claus and shit. That was
Mhm.
all AI, and I'm like, this commercial really irks the fuck out of my nerves because like the
Mhm.
wheels don't look real, like it looks flat and blurry on the edges. You're like, this looks bad, but it's like everyone loves the AI stuff, and I just can't get on board with it like all the way.
Well,
Like,
everyone's loving it for what they would imagine it could do, not for what they have it
Mhm.
doing right now. They have it doing just like the normal, like they have it doing like your when I say your normal artistic shit, I don't mean like it's not. I mean you can have it paint pictures, but like nobody's gonna look at a painting and be like that was AI. But it, you have it doing your Super Bowl commercials or your Christmas commercials, and everyone's so infatuated with what AI can do
mhm.
that they're not actually looking at like what AI could and should like be used for. Like
Mhm.
to an extent, it's like yes, absolutely, AI will make our lives easier. How will it make our lives easier? Well, I work at a marketing firm, and I'm going to use AI to make me a fucking Coca-Cola commercial. Like there it is. Like I'm going to make $70 million based off of a fucking typing something into Chat GPT and just shitting that on screen. Like there, I think there's still a a nuance of laziness when it comes to AI
Mhm.
because nobody wants to. If you're going to use the AI, nobody wants to give the input for the AI. It's almost like we've stepped back like two
Mhm.
steps when it comes to the laziness with AI and like, well, AI will do it. AI will do this. AI will do that. It's fine. The AI will take care of it. And so it's almost like
Eh,
it shifted people that are actually were originally responsible for those roles and those those products and those outputs. It's almost like they've gotten lazier overnight when it comes down to it. And I'm not saying that people that do this job are lazy. What I'm saying is that people that expect AI to give them the final product have become lazy because they just think AI is going to do the rest of it. Where it won't. It won't give you
and
that touch. It won't give you that feel. It won't give you that like
The
this was built by
gratification.
a human piece. Like
and the other thing to keep in mind is with this whole AI thing, it's being run by people not who were previously doing the work, but people who are like, "Oh,
We can save
why
money.
am I paying you to do this work? Why is it taking you so long to do this work?" Well, do you want it done well? Do you want it done nicely? Do you want a human do you want do you want it to feel like it was cared about as opposed to something that looks like it was just slopped together?
it's like I would say it's like we've immediately enterprised AI.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
It's not at the ground level. It's not at the personal level. We've before AI even got its ground hold,
Well, look
we
at
we
fucking
turned AI
Apple
into we turned AI into a big box shop. Is
and
really what
and
happened.
we literally like Apple's like, "Hey, come buy our new phone with AI."
But it doesn't have it yet.
Asterisk, it doesn't have AI yet. We're gonna have it soon though, and it's like we're already selling promises of tomorrow, and like,
It's the worst thing
eh,
you can do. Marketing
yeah, like
101.
we're selling the future that isn't even here. So we're promising things that we may just find out it's not gonna work, and then we're like, oh yeah, it didn't work the way the way we demoed. Like we're selling people, the dream of it working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And all we're getting is we're getting sold like third gen AI,
Hmm.
but realistically, we're still on like beta or first gen AI, like actual mechanics. It's like we're at that spot where it's like it's almost dystopian, where oh your AI can do this, your AI can do that. Only if you say it expressly, like what you mean. Like if you give this AI a Shakespearean paragraph of what you want or what you want out of it, then and only then will it give you what you're actually looking for. Outside of that, it will give you uh just something it found. pull pictures from the internet. It'll mesh pictures together. It'll think what it looks like a wheel or looks like a wheel moving, like things like that. It'll try to fast track everything. Not that the AI is lazy. I mean, the AI can't be lazy, but I think it's all user input driven, and we haven't gotten to the point to where it's like the AI is not going to know thoughts, feelings, and what you really want out of something, just like your tattoo artist wouldn't, until you sit there and you talk with it a little bit and you actually like hash out the design and things like that. And then AI has just gotten like really weird because we really fast tracked AI into doing dog shit work. Is really essentially what we've done with that.
Yeah. How about you type up this email for me so I don't have to? You know?
Yeah, tell me.
I see that
AI
already
is
a lot
great.
now. When I receive corporate emails, like you can tell it's clearly written from AI. Like it's terrible.
The fact that AI is still grammatically incorrect most of the time is your dead giveaway.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Like-
I actually use AI to help create like our YouTube video descriptions. Like it does extremely well, but I do have to like modify certain things to flesh it out.
And,
But like
and you
it's
should
very
like,
useful in that point because like that's a like almost like a brain dead task. Like I don't really need to put a ton of effort into creating it, but like it'll create the whole thing in about 5 seconds as opposed to me typing it out in about 2 minutes or whatever.
Well, yeah, and you could probably just copy and paste the itinerary, throw it in there, and say, make a summary of this for a YouTube video, and then it'll probably shit some stuff out, and it sounds fucking great, and then like, yep, fucking done. Like that's good.
that's
Like, as a
what
compression
AI
piece.
should be for,
Like,
but not
yeah.
creative things
Yeah,
where
'cause
it's
I
like,
don't. Did you guys see the video of, like people going to college now? Like they literally just show up and go to sleep, but they turn their computer on. And it says record and create a detailed note and summarize the entire class. And it's like that is like that's insane. What the fuck can happen? Like you don't even gotta listen to that shit anymore. It records it so you can listen back to it. It takes notes. It does all that shit properly. You're just like college seems 1,000 times easier now than what it was even 10 years
Oh,
ago.
for sure.
but are you
but
gonna
at the same
walk away
time,
with the same knowledge?
But that's
yeah,
the craziest
exactly
part.
that right
Probably
there.
not.
Like, you can't program your AI to ask the professor a question that is somehow going to mean more than the actual lesson itself.
Right.
Yep.
And
Or the
there's
interaction.
exactly, and at that point, we've moved from the human input into the human output. Like, what is that person going to do with the information that the AI has given them?
Just make sure you
If they're not going to class, are they gonna read it? I mean, now, of course, there's a genius play in there where you take all lessons you've ever gotten and say, oh, condense this into a 75 question test, and then just study that, and you'll probably get pretty good results. But it still doesn't take out that human laziness and the human ability to be like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Like I'm sure it can help you create like study flashcards. Like there's probably useful ways of using it in college. But like let's circle it back to video games. Like, do we have any thoughts on how it can make designing video games easier or better? Or like should it only be used in certain circumstances? Like I'm trying to feel it like there has
I
to
think
be like a
I
good
think
balance.
certain circumstances is where AI should live. Certain circumstances is where AI really becomes that golden egg, because you can tell AI to write you code for a forested area with deer and stuff like that, but next thing you know, you're gonna have deer like halfway through fucking trees, like just dumb shit like that, because it doesn't know exactly what you put in. So like, if you're coding a game and you put in and you do that input, you're going to know exactly what you want, when you want it, where you want it. But AI, and we've had this talk before, where AI would be really useful in something like generative dialogue.
Yeah.
Based
Like the new
off
AIs and
of
shit.
like based off of like the things you've done previously in the game and things that like still have yet to happen. Like that is where AI would really live and thrive, in my opinion.
I love what
To
some
be
game
useful.
developers are using that for, like those unimportant NPCs like are that are like scattered through towns and like their side conversations they're having with amongst each other, like where it seems like they're having like a legitimate real world conversation, like as if like
Yeah.
I was walking down the street in New York City and like you can just hear the chatter, and it's just like that is going to be extremely useful because I'm not gonna lie, like when you're walking through towns in old games, they're just standing there like.
I was an adventurer like you until I took an arrow to the knee.
I mean, like Jumanji, like with the newer Jumanji, actually, like they do that really well, where they keep repeating the same line over and over again because like that's how video games were. Like
Funny
they
day to
wouldn't
be out.
they they would be very robotic and very computer where AI can actually help like add that more depth to it, I think.
And I think the first time we talked about this, we actually did bring Skyrim into the mix because they said that they had the Radiant AI, which was supposed to give you that like depth of like dialogue and interactions like in towns that was supposed to happen based off of the things you've done in the game, and they just miraculously failed at that so fucking hard. But that's like that was something that should have been or could have been given the proper use of the AI formatting in video game development.
Yeah. All right. We could sit here and talk about this shit all day because this is a really important topic, but I know we're going to talk about it a lot more as the years go by. This is, I mean, it's ever growing. I mean, watching AI blow up the way it has, just even the last year, has been insane. So, but now it's being introduced to the video game world, so we'll continue to monitor that and see how that goes. But last topic here for Xbox is just their update to the Game Pass. Game Pass editions, you got EA Sports F124. It's already out now on cloud, console, and PC. Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader also is already out now on cloud, PC, and Series X and S. And then Watch Dogs Legion comes out on the 25th for cloud, console, and PC. So Roger, I think I don't know. There was a couple people in the Lunacy chat talking about the Rogue Trader. It seems pretty cool. But have you ever played this, or you plan to check this one out?
Yep.
You
I
already,
already have it installed.
he's ready,
I was
boys.
about to start playing Rogue Trader because like I almost bought it a few months back. And I was like, I don't wanna spend the money right now. It's like 45, 50 bucks. And then I was like, oh, it's on Game Pass?
Yeah,
Damn. Guess I'm playing
it's an
Rogue Trader.
isometric role playing
hmm
game.
Yep. It's an RPG. And I am excited for it. Like super
Will this
excited.
play similar to like Baldur's Gate 3?
hmm
I thought so.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of grasped from like the screenshots that I
Not
saw.
as in depth, not the same quality as Baldur's Gate 3, but
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
a good game.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Another value addition to Game Pass that you were going to spend, thinking about spending 40, 50 bucks, and now you get to check it out for free. And then
hmm
if you find out you're like, this game is not that great, let me uninstall this thing, and you saved yourself
Yeah.
a ton of dollars.
hmm
Because this next game, that I want to talk about, Watch Dogs Legion. This is a game that I wish was on Game Pass day one because might not have wasted money on. But Watch Dogs
Yeesh.
Legion, like the concept and like what could have been in that game really, really could have been great.
But
One and two
Victor,
were
the
decent.
cash
The
shop
cash
though,
shop,
in a
that's
single shop, in a single player game.
yeah, we always reference that shit. It's so funny, like random ass episodes where we always bring up like they added a cash shop to a single player only game, and then they eventually added that like you can join my match and invade my whatever city, and you're like, oh, whatever, who gives a fuck? But it's just like, yeah, you added a cash shop to a single player game.
Yeah.
Instead of adding the multiplayer to your single player game, you added the cash shop to the single player game.
Well, the multiplayer
We were
wasn't going to make that
gonna
much
add
money.
multiplayer.
What's that?
I said the multiplayer wasn't going to add that much money. The cash shop will, though.
Do you need something to to wear the skins for? I just didn't understand it. Yeah, it was really weird. I mean, the game. I think I may have gave it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Um, it wasn't better than the previous ones in any way, shape, or form. But we'll see what Ubisoft does and whether they want to bring it back. Because if I'm not mistaken, there should be a movie in the works. If I'm not, the last time we covered it, I
Oh,
don't know if it
not
got
gonna see
canceled yet.
that.
I doubt it'll be as bad as Borderlands, so might be worth a watch.
Never heard of the movie. What are you talking about?
What movie?
That's fair. But real
The
quick,
only movie we recognize in this house is the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
which we talked about last week. But as for the departures for our Game Pass on the 25th, we're losing F122, Gris, Maneater, Paw Patrol World, Space Engineers, Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Yakuza 3 and 4 remastered. Not gonna lie, they're losing a lot of bangers. A lot of bangers. Grist was
Yeah, I
really
was
good indie
gonna.
game. Maneater was a really I never played it, but I heard it was really fun. Like you play as a shark, but it's an RPG. Paw Patrol World, I played that with my daughter. Bolt Gun, literally just started this shit too, and I'm like, fuck, not gonna play
That's what
this,
you
not
get.
not gonna beat this game now. Long Fallen Dynasty, I never got to beat. I never really played any of the Yakuza games, but it's just sad to see that we're losing 3 and 4 out of all of the other ones. I don't know why we're losing those two. Maybe they come back. Maybe they rework a new deal to bring them back. But as of right now, we are losing them. But Roger, are you sad to see any of these go?
I wanted to beat Wolong, but I just never went back to beat it, like ever.
Yeah.
So honestly, not really missing much here to me.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation, so.
What?
But I did. But I did want to ask how
This
you
is
were feeling about
Xbox.
Paw Patrol getting just absolutely tossed in the garbage
Yeah,
here.
it's getting thrown to the curb. Yeah, unfortunately. Any
I I don't
dads?
have any input when it comes to like really their Game Pass departures, but I feel like Wolong should have really stuck it out for the long haul.
Yeah, I agree. But if not, go check them out. You can buy the game. I think get like a 20% off discount if you're a Game Pass member. But surprisingly, no PlayStation news this week, other than the one that we covered with them getting sued. But Scott, what's going on over in the Nintendo realm?
So lots, because there has been some hubbub about the Switch 2, but the most important thing that we have seen this week is that the My Nintendo Gold points are going to be going away. Nintendo has announced that it will be shutting down the rewards program. So from March 24th, 2025 at 9:30 Pacific Daylight Time, which is about 11:30 here, they will no longer earn gold points when purchasing digital titles. And physical games released for the Nintendo Switch after this date will no longer offer gold points. Gold points already earned, however, will still be usable up until their expiration 12 months after the date that they were earned. So that's something important to keep in mind there. The gold points program, it was added alongside the launch in like 2016. It's been their quintessential rewards program for buying anything digital or physical for the Switch. And of course, we all know why they're getting rid of this. They're getting rid of this because they're getting ready for the Switch 2, which it seems now will be coming with its own rewards program and its own little bonuses, as it were. Uh, so anybody here who's still got some gold points, you got a year after you've earned them to use them, and if you don't use them, you do lose them.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to include one other thing because I think there's one of the guys in Lunacy actually dropped it was about the vouchers for like the free games or some shit like that. Those are about to expire
Vouchers are only
Yep.
usable
for
on
like
the
for the
first.
Switch or something like that. So like
Mhm.
clearly they're about to rework the system for Switch 2, and so I'd be curious to
Or
see what they come
already
out.
have and just haven't released it.
Yeah. So I'd be curious to see what they do or not do in this case. Maybe they're just trying to price gouge even more, but we shall see. All right, Roger, what's going on over in the Square Enix realm?
Square Enix is pulling an iOS Final Fantasy game due to not being able to fix a DLC bug. So they've actually hit a problem where in Final Fantasy Chronicles, Crystal Chronicles, in the DLC, there's a bug that they just can't fix. This would uh which just is interesting to me because the PS4, Switch, and Android versions of the game will continue to run as usual, but the iOS version will not. So they're only pulling it from one of the 4 platforms.
This seems really interesting. Like this is from the article from VGC. It says that this would be an annoyance in itself where the DLC limited to in-game items such as cosmetic items or extra modes, but because the iOS version is a free-to-app with the full game unlocked via an in-app purchase, this means everyone is now locked out of the full game on Apple devices. Hence why they're removing it because of this bug. And it's crazy how they can't get around it. But I wonder if it has anything to do with like some of like Apple's policies with like how games have to be downloaded via their store or have to include
Yeah,
a certain thing close
and
to Apple or like some crazy shit that we've been
yeah,
covering.
it's Final Fantasy's way of getting around to having to pay Apple. So when you download the game, then you're in the game, then you make a purchase through them, and they unlock your game. Essentially, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
so that Apple doesn't get a dime.
And Apple was like,
Not
we
Final
saw
Fantasy
that, and
teaching
now
you
we're
how to
gonna
pirate
brick
from
your
Apple.
shit. Yeah, Apple was like, yeah, we're gonna brick your game now since you found a loophole, and yeah, not happening, buddy.
Yeah, we already lost to Epic, so fuck you.
All right, let's talk about another mobile game, or I guess it's on other platform too. But I know this one was really big in the mobile realm.
Yeah, Among Us. Right? Who thought we would have Among Us news? But this is actually really fun. So, Among Us has announced Among Us 3D, which is a first person version of the game, and it actually doesn't require a VR headset. You just get some first person views, no matter what platform you're playing on. It looks fun. It looks cool. It looks like a step in the right direction for Among Us here. There was only so many places they could go, and first person view was definitely one of them, but not one that anyone really thought was gonna be the one that they went with. So you just get that first person view here. You still have kills and things like that end up looking as 2D, but it looks fun. I mean, it's a good take. It's a good
Adds
take on
lot
a
to the
preview. Yeah,
game.
it
You can't
does,
see what's
right?
behind you.
That's fair. That is fair. That is very
When
fair.
you
You
fucking
cannot
die,
see what's
you
behind
don't know it's coming till you're already dead.
you. Yep, that's actually very, very fair.
I look
That
left and
shit.
I look right. I said, "Hello,
So that's
Jesus."
definitely
No,
100%.
I said, hello,
Probably the
Jesus.
biggest improvement here because it
I forget.
adds
It was
that
like
extra
I forget what
little
Cat Williams said
flair of
along
like,
that
I don't know
line.
what's behind me.
He
We'll see what happens. Like it's fun. It looks like a good improvement on an already established game.
That reminded me like from that Cat Williams show. He was like something about he was watching like somebody like in a shootout. He was like, I look left or look right, and next you know, I said, "Hello, Jesus." He's like, "Did you know him?" No, I didn't. And here I am. But yeah. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like the models and everything look pretty cool. But yeah, I think it can change like the game entirely because like normally you could just see it from a top down. You could see it like around you and stuff like that. So like you kind of had a sense of like who killed you or if you saw someone else get killed over there, even though you weren't looking that direction. But now it's like if you're not looking that way, you don't know what even happened over there, unless you hear some noises or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, I think it could drastically change the gameplay loop for Among Us in a different way. You guys hopping back into Among Us when this drops?
Only so I can actually
if we get
crawl
enough
up people from
people.
behind.
All right, let's end out the show with one last topic, Roger. What is going on in the Marvel Rivals realm?
So Marvel Rivals is reported that it now surpassed 40 million players and has generated net revenue of $2.9 billion. Billion with a B.
All right, let's all throw up at the same time in 3, 2, 1. Blech.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's fucking disgusting on how much money they have generated.
Welcome to Marvel. Like, people simp over this shit.
Literally, the game's released since December 6th. It's been out almost 3 months and has generated $3 billion. Basically, let's just round up. Because by March 6th, I'm sure it'll be well over $3 billion. But it's just like it's insane, and like they're going to, they're going to be able to continue to print money because of how much content and lore that they're able to just tap into. It's just
And like the game is completely free to play, and the only paid part of the game is cosmetics. That's it. It's $5 for a battle pass that lasts weeks, if not a month.
and if I'm not mistaken,
We all
you don't have
know
to
is
finish
that
it either.
we all know is that Susan Storm alternative skin. Don't act like you don't know what it was.
I had friends who were like, I bought a skin for them sweet, sweet feet. And I was like,
But
Not the
surprisingly enough,
skimpy squirrel girl.
I didn't include it here in the itinerary, but I did read an article talking about how like Marvel Rivals was almost canceled before the release because like I guess they were having a fallout with Marvel and like they all couldn't get on the same page about something, and I was just like, wow, like the landscape would be dramatically different if that were to happen.
Yeah, the game that almost wasn't. And
Like-
I just know everybody who's worked on Overwatch 2 is just at home, just looking at that rope and just like, God damn it. Just pissed. Just gotta be pissed.
Insane. And I mean, speaking of Overwatch, I think we covered it last week, obviously, with them loot boxes. Like, I don't know how or why that's even a thing, but I just feel like you're just trying to kill the game off even more by doing that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and at that
loot
point,
boxes fix the game, in my opinion, because it allowed you to get free shit just for completing matches. That was the thing. Like, loot boxes were the best thing about Overwatch, and when they removed them, it removed the ability to get like every skin in the game for free.
It was probably just the idea like that you could pay to get more loot boxes was the problem. Like, you're literally
Yep.
just gambling at that point.
well, it's because they took the whole loot box mechanic and they fucked it. And then they made it like if you were getting a free loot box, you had a 0.0000001% chance of getting like a decent skin or like a rare skin or like an epic skin or anything like that.
Well,
and
the
they
loot boxes weren't bad. They
were
were
like,
always
well,
really good.
they're like, well, if you bought it, there's a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's a little dirty. And so now they're like as we spoke last week a little bit, the loot boxes with Overwatch is just it just feels dirty at that point because you're like,
Daily
well,
dollar short.
yeah, it's too late. It's way too late. It's daily dollar short. But then you see Marvel Rivals, something that has literally done everything that Overwatch 2 should have done. And you just see now a $2.9 billion revenue off of something that Overwatch could have done from day one had they not just done the massive PvE lie, the fake news around that, and the just the jack up of their entire game.
Oh yeah, and like they reworked the whole game, removed loot boxes, and they were like, "It's a new game," and you're like, "But it has less features," and they were like, "But it's new. What about the old one? We got rid of that."
Yeah,
like,
new doesn't always mean better.
I'm really worried about like that announcement with Rainbow Six Siege X or whatever. Like, it's the new iteration of Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm like, are we getting an Overwatch 2? Are we getting a Smite 2? Are we getting a CS:GO 2? Because like all of these next iterations of the famously great multiplayer games have never succeeded. Never.
Yep.
I've never seen a next iteration of a multiplayer live service game that's been around for like 10 years ever succeed. I can't name one.
Well, CS:GO 2 succeeded. It just didn't revitalize the game. It's still the same game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't hit the way that the OGs hit. You know, like,
well, it's my
that was the same
ongoing
thing issue with like
conspiracy.
Smite 2. Like, Smite 2 came out, everyone's like, "Oh, new game, new great." Nope, back to the first one we go. Like, at least Smite 1 was still at least playable. Like, Overwatch 1 not playable. Was CS:GO 1 still available to play, or did they remove that from market?
No, CS:GO 2 replaced CS:GO 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's just like
if
Overwatch.
you full on replace it, then no issue. Like,
My ongoing conspiracy is that when it comes down to that, when you see these CS:GO 2s, Overwatch 2s, like all that, they're not actually there to make money. They're not actually there to like try to get more people on their player base. They're put out to be a test in price elasticity and what people would be willing to pay for their game, regardless of the bullshit they put out. That's my ongoing theory. Is they're like, what can we do and still have people play this game, and then they dial it back, just to see if they can meet that middle ground where they're getting the max amount of dollars from their players and still retaining their fan base without losing and without getting rid of players altogether. That's my only working theory that I have for that, because it's the only one that makes sense.
Look, think about economics in general. Supply and demand. You have infinite supply. Can you crank up the demand or keep the demand the same by changing your price? Because your supply will never change. Your supply is this. It's a straight bar. So your demand, can you jack the price up without your demand just tanking?
Yeah.
You made an infinite supply item.
And that's what kind of what we deal with, like with live service games. Like, we see games that hang around for 10, 15, and countless amount of years, like all of these games we were just mentioning, where Call of Duty, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. They release the same game every year, call it something different, and sell it to us for $70, $60, whatever version you're buying, and it just works for them. But like we talk about it all the time,
That's
like that's a game that should just be one game updated regularly, infinitely, and you'd be fine. Like you don't have to reinvigorate the game. And if you want to, just update it. Like look what Fortnite did. Like if you look at Fortnite 1.0 and you look at Fortnite whatever version they're on now, it's a night and day difference. They jumped a whole different engine, but it's still the same game. Like they didn't change it. It's not Fortnite 2, you know. And then there's just different ways of approach, honestly. But
But
anyways,
anyway, huge shout out to Marvel Rivals for making 2.9 billion with a fucking B dollars, because fucking bravo.
yeah, good thing you didn't get canceled. Because I feel like that's what like the only game I see people are playing right now is Rivals. Like when it comes to multiplayer, at least. Literally, I'm not gonna lie. Like I hopped on my friends list. And I was like, "Yo, who's playing Avowed on Xbox?"
Fucking no one.
It's 2K, 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 2K. Fucking Marvel Rivals, and Call of Duty sprinkled in there. And I'm like, I have like nobody that plays actual video games on my friends list.
Which leads me into my next dissertation. I hope you all are free for the next hour and a half. Avowed's not doing as well as everyone says it is, but no, I'm kidding. It's not, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Like, the game is definitely being simped by some. It's a good game. Don't get me wrong.
Very good.
It's definitely not game of the year, but it's a good game.
Yeah.
I think it's chock full of good writing, good story. I think the playability of the game is the biggest problem it has. The depth of play is pretty low and is only fixed by the fact that they have, unique items that do sometimes fill in that gap, but they're just retellings of the same like mage spell or other ability.
That's fair.
Agreed. And it still hasn't beaten Kingdom Come Deliverance, no matter
That's
what
true.
anybody says.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a true success story of the industry where like AA games, they're where it's at. The industry's here, and like Avowed was really a AA game, not so much a AAA.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Like I don't think their budget was AAA.
That's fair.
I'm sure that it's going to be considered a AAA game, but yeah, I'm sure it probably had, because like you figure the budget was probably unlimited, not really, but like they actually have more money now to make Avowed than they ever had making any of their previous projects. They actually have more people.
Oh
They
yeah,
were
that's
talking about
how
like,
a
the growth,
successful studio.
like a studio went from 180 to like 223 or 225. I forget what they said in the interview the other day. But they were like, yeah, and also like being able to like cross work out with different developers, because obviously like when you join the Xbox team, like now you're part of the family that
Yeah.
they want. And
Well, Avowed is AAA just because it probably costs between $70 to $80 million to make.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah.
Because Scott, we were talking about last week with the whole issue with Wonder Woman. It's already costed them $100 million to make
$100 million, and it's like years.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, $100 million, and it's still years away from getting made. Like,
it's WD. We already went down that rabbit hole last week.
That's a cut your losses on that point.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say about that.
It'll be a Skull and Bones scenario, honestly. But
which, by the way, the beginning of Avowed felt very, very Skull and Bonesy.
Oh yeah.
Like it was almost the same exact, like you get there, you're on your boat, you have your wreck, like you wash up on shore, like you're wondering, like the whole thing, and I was like, oh no. That was my first, like I was in here in my office like playing by myself, and I was just like, oh no. And then I was like, oh no, and I just kept playing. I was like, all right,
I'm glad
we're good. I was like,
we got to the main island and we were fine.
Yeah. I was like, thank God, thank Christ.
All right, guys. Any last comments or remarks for this episode before we close it out? All good there? Cool. So we do want to thank all the live viewers that came through and checked us out today here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
You're going to find me here or on Discord.
And what about you, Scott?
You will find me here some Sundays, and you will find me on Discord usually anytime that you open up your Discord app at Scobeywan. So look for me there.
And of course, everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _ threads at Mr. Never Chillin, Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. If you want a game or party up, hit me up there. Also, by the way, I'm number 1 on my friends list when it comes to gamer scores. So shout out to Dom and Gabe for being runner-ups now. But Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any question, concerns. If you want to come on the show, hit me up there. And I do have a Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin if you want to drop a follow. Not sure if and when I will be streaming again, but be sure you support there. But we do want to thank everyone again. And until next week, peace.
Press Start Podcast.